Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and we are proudly sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Right. Very tough period for the club. I don't mean to skirt over anything that's happened, but the one silver lining, and we talked about this on Three Mardy Blades on Monday, is that United are coming up soon. And, you know, that for a lot of people, football is more than just a hobby. And I include myself in this. It affects our mood. We've talked about it before. And the more I've thought about this game, the more excited I've got. We all need a distraction. And Sheffield United being back and hopefully continuing our form is hopefully a nice boost that everybody needs over what's been a terrible time for the football club and us as fans, as well as anybody associated with a football club. So thank you for joining me tonight. This is the warm-up. This is a very sort of brief look towards Leeds on Friday. I will be doing a watch-along for anybody that's not able to go to the game. I'm going to watch it on Sky like I'll be doing. Myself and my dad will be here to watch the game with you if you want to tune in to us and see how we're reacting to stuff, because I'm excited now. Come kick off, I know I'm going to be really nervous. I'm surprised I'm not more nervous than I currently feel. Like I said, closer it gets to kick off, that may change. It probably will change. Usually, with big games on the horizon, I am ridiculous in terms of, well, you know, if they beat us, it's all over, blah, blah, blah. I'm very catastrophic like that. Obviously, we've had a fantastic start to the season. Best team in the league on points accrued. So I'm confident going into this game. Leeds, look, this is our toughest test yet, and that's the way we've titled the video, because I genuinely believe that to be true. I'd still think that were the case if this was a home game. We've faced Watford this season, who were top of the league when we faced them. So technically, in terms of positions, it's not maybe mathematically the toughest test we've faced. But being real and knowing that the table doesn't really settle down until 10 games in anyway, Leeds were the vast majority of people's favourites for the title. And whether that's based on reputation, size of club, rather than playing staff, which I tend to lean that way. I think their reputation goes before them a little bit. And this is just my opinion. You all know that I'm based over in Wakefield, which is Leeds territory. Primarily, there's a few Huddersfield knocking about, but not many Blades at all. And yeah, the Leeds fans that I knock about with are very much, yeah, we're going to smash this league. We're going to, you know, walk it, basically. It hasn't quite worked out like that. I've spoken to Connor from One Leeds Fan Channel. Thank you to Connor, who's going to do our Ramble rundown today for us. And I'm hoping to be on his channel tomorrow at some stage to break down the game. But they don't seem quite as, cocky's a strong word, but they don't seem quite as confident as you would expect from Leeds fans. They're a little bit twitchy about this one. Now, they're at home, which I genuinely think this game could go either way. I think it's going to be very tight. It's a strange one, and I'll ask you all your opinion shortly, because I want to know how you think it's going to go. On Three Mardy Blades on Monday, I think Dave and Paul both went for a 2-1 United. I don't think there'll be that many goals in it, although I do think, ironically, that it'll be quite an end-to-end game. I think it'll be quite an exciting game. But I think there'll only be one goal in it. And I'm hoping it's a United goal. So let me jump into some of your comments before we we crack on. We've also got the latest edition from Disco Dave, which has been a very popular feature on the Ramble. So thank you to Dave for supplying us with the goods. Mr. V starts us off. Good evening, Jimmy. Hope you're well, mate. I'm staying with you. Usual 11, predicting a 2-0 win for the Blades with Hamer and Moore the scorers. I think Sousa gets a yellow and maybe an L2. So you'll have to remind me now. So I know that Sousa was one away from a ban. I think, did Anel pick up his 4th yellow card against Luton? Another daft one, weren't it? So yeah, if Anel gets a yellow, so on a yellow card going into this game, with in terms of one more yellow card and they get a 1-game ban. So Hamer, Anel, and Vinny, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you will, but if they pick up a yellow card in this game, any of them, they will miss the trip to Middlesbrough, which we cannot overlook. Obviously, you play the game in front of you. That's always been our motto. That's the way I like to do it anyway. While they didn't do that against Luton, he rested a couple of decent players and we still beat them convincingly. So there's a reason he's in the dugout and not me. But I think, yeah, it's touch and go into it. Having said that, in centre midfield with Vinny, you feel that Peck can come in and do a good job. And Nell, Jackie Robinson's now fit again. Obviously, I think it's a little bit of a step down from Anel's quality, but it's a squad game, isn't it? And we're going to have to make these decisions. Let's just hope Anel doesn't get booked and can make it through. And obviously, Gustavo. No one picks his spot like Gustavo. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, Mr. V. Danny Boy says, evening, Jimmy lad. I'm well up for this game. Toughest game of the season playing at Elland Road. All the season playing at Elland. Yeah, I think a lot of people will probably agree with that, to be fair. Wilder will have them revved up for this one. I think this is one for Big Keith to bag a brace. 2-0 win up the Ramble. Got to get Raksaki pushing Bogle backwards as that kid can't defend. I think he's their weak spot on the pitch. This is where we can punish them with crosses coming into the box. Set pieces will win us the game. My team, as usual, back 4. Sousa, Blaster, Hamer, Raksaki in midfield, and Big Keith and O'Hare. I'd put Hamer in number 10 role and O'Hare on the left for the first half as Leeds expect Hamer on the left, and Hamer's better in the 10. A lot to digest there. I'm going to come back to this point, Danny, where you get Raksaki pushing Bogle back. Well, Raksaki won't be up against Bogle, will he? He'll be on the right-hand side and he'll be up against Firpo. I'll be amazed if that changes. I would also do as you've said, and I would move O'Hare out to the left. It was a little bit trickier than Gus, and I would have him running at Bogle. I don't think Bogle's necessarily a... It's weird because I'm here for the banter. I'm telling you, we're Leeds, particularly. I'm just a bit loath to go in on Bogle when we know what he can give them going forward as well. What a sickener it'd be if he was the one that made the difference. So as much as we know we can get at him, we also know he could get at us if he's going forward. So I'm slightly taking my foot off the gas in terms of having a pop at Bogle for now. But, you know, I'm all for it. Anybody else that wants to join in with that. Evening, Jimmy. Another clean sheet and a 1-0 win for the Blade, says Dave. Yes, please, Dave, all day long. What I will ask now is, if I offered you a draw, do you take it? 0-0, obviously. We want to keep our clean sheet record. Do you take a draw right now? And I think I do, if I'm honest. I know it's the coward's way out. But I think toughest game of the season going to Elland Road. And they'll love me saying that, well, Leeds fans. But it's right, isn't it? I think, yeah, I take a point at Elland Road all day long. Evening, Jimmy and all the Ramble family, says Ian. I'm backing Wilder to galvanise the lads after the past week. Clean sheets to continue. 3-0 Blades. Brewster to score. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Ian. Brewster's biggest fan. And you've, in fact, stick around for Connor's Ramble rundown because he mentions Ryan Brewster as well, which you might be interested in. Jack says this is going to be the biggest game for the team. I think you mean. It may show us how much work is needed. I'm hoping we're good in possession because Leeds are a team who could punish that. Evening, Jimmy, says Rich. Looking forward to this. Our usual starting 11, but swap O'Hare with Brooks. I've been getting grief at work, so I want to win a dull 1-0 for me. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Let's do it for George. Evening, Jim, says Chris. I'm going 2-0 the Mighty Blades, but I'll gladly take a point. Any news on the Smoke and Mirrors takeover? Nothing yet, mate. Nothing yet. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't been very active in chasing updates on that recently. Hi, Jimmy, says Tim. How much better is our injury situation this year against last? Amazing. Maybe down to Brian English. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. So up the Ramble, up the Blaze. It is remarkable, isn't it? The difference in this season and last. A lot of people saying, Eki, we're training them too hard, or just you've got to go putting everything out there, aren't you? Hi, Jimmy. Got to be honest, I'm nervous about this game, but then I was about Pompey, so we'll take that result. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, says David. Bring it on, can't wait. Up the Blades, says Daz. Nice one, pal. Cole says, evening, Jimmy. Won't be able to watch live as working, but believe Leeds will be a massive challenge. I think we will pull through for a 2-0 win for George, Johnny, Maddie, and all the Blades we've lost. Wow. Dave the Nose, Leary, evening, Jimmy. Ready for United to be playing again. Hopefully a welcome distraction after the last couple of weeks. Absolutely right, pal. Still only another few weeks till the next international break. Up the Blades, up the Ram. I'm just not an international boy. I can't get into it. I know we did a bit of a series on Jimmy Ramble channel for the Euros. Unless it's a tournament, I can't really get into it. I know Tuchel's been appointed today, which is, you know, good appointment for me. We'll not get into that. We ain't got enough time, have we? I don't think. Evening, Jimmy, says Jamie. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Going to watch it at the Big Tree. So there's a good atmosphere. Let's win it for George. And good to hear you on Radio Sheffield the other night. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Hope you're well, mate. In Benidorm, says David Vinter. So hoping to find a few Blades to watch the game with. 1-0 for me. And I know the away support will do us and Starman proud. They absolutely will. No doubt about it. We know that away support will be loud and proud as always. Not United related, but thoughts on Tuchel. I think he's a great manager and couldn't give one if he was from Germany or Mars. Can I say the 3 words yet? No, you can't say the 3 words. Because we don't know. I don't mind Tuchel at all. I think it's a good appointment. Dem Blades, says Blades TV. Hi, Ricky. You okay, pal? Tom Davis or Vinny Souza? It's got to be Vinny Souza, and it, Lucas, to be fair. Tom Davis, unproven in terms of his fitness and not up to the speed of games. If he's fit enough to be on the bench, that'd be great. Let's see him for the last 10 minutes if that's something. I'm going to get into a watch the team in a minute because I'd like to talk about how it's going to play out. Evening, Bladesmen, says Kate. Good luck with the Football Content Awards. Thank you, pal. Much appreciated. We've got Firestick Jimmy watching it with Rotherham and Weeds fans too. Oh, good luck with that, mate. Callum Fowler's had us from potential back-to-back relegation candidates to winning the league levels. Callum, my boy. Dear, oh dear. Evening, Jimmy, up the Blades. Come on, 2-1 Blades win. I'm hoping for a clean sheet. That'll do me, says Tit, and me. If it's 0-0, I'm having it. Got 1 or 2 injuries of Leeds. Are they still giving it? And they're still giving it big and smashing Blades, up the Ramble. Evening, Jimmy. Like you, I'm from Harrogate, so I got a lot of Leeds mates, and they're nervous with players out injured. I think it's going to be 1-0 Blades. Fingers crossed. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Evening, Jimmy, says Tom. Hope I'm wrong, but I think this is where we come back down to earth. We could do, pal. We could do. We're still in a strong position even if we get beat, aren't we? We've had a 2-point deduction, and we're in automatic positions after second international break. I think we're doing fantastically well, and we're not going to go all season unbeaten. And this is the toughest game. Certainly the toughest game we've faced so far, and on paper. So it could happen, mate. Man Mountain, good evening, pal. Still think the Blades are arriving in Leeds as favourites. Threats on both sides. Our keeper is on a different planet, and he's good at goalkeeping as well, mate. Time for O'Hare and more to see him off. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Yorkshire will be ours come Friday. Love that, mate. Weird one. Has your camera got auto tracking on it? Because it keeps moving slightly. Yes, it has, Jamie. Yes, it has. I'm not going to show off with that feature, but yeah, I'll just. A few injuries and Melier's clanger have calmed them down. Tight game. We could well nick it, says Jimmy. Take a draw. Yeah, I agree. Mate. Our start to the season means that when we lose, let's face it, Leeds or Borough are both very tough and not the toughest games of the season. If not the toughest games of the season, we shouldn't be 2 down. Not that we shouldn't ever set up. Well said, Lee. A very sensible, pragmatic approach to that. I completely agree. I'm confident without being sort of overconfident that we're going to turn them over massively, if you know what I mean. I'm not cocky that we're going to go in and turn them over. I'd be happy with a point. Can't wait for Friday night. 3-1 to the Blade, says Jamie. Can just see Bogle scoring. Feels like it's written in the stars. But do we play Jamie Shackleton? I know my Mountain were mentioning that he might make an appearance. Dave, we're talking about it. Dave Leary. Jamie Shackleton could have the same effect, couldn't it? Shackleton in the 90th minute. Shackleton arriving. I think we'll win 0-1. Hamer just need to defend well and we'll do them. Players will be trying super hard to win for George, like Greece did against England. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Rest in peace, Starman. Absolutely right. 100% I'd take a point, says Mr. V. Sarah definitely takes a point, but you're hopeful. Yes, I'm a bit like that. Quietly confident. I'd take a 0-0, but no cards either for our 4 carders. Can have a war with Middlesbrough then. Yep. Not the toughest game of the season. Not our biggest rivals, says Matt. Oh, just another game to me. Maybe back in the day when they were Champions League side, whatever the result, it won't define our season. Up the Blades. Absolutely right, it won't, pal. And that's probably why we're a little bit more, or I'm certainly a little bit more settled going into this. I'm not super nervous or anything like that. A loss doesn't kill our season, does it? We've had such a strong start. And you look at the players we've got. Michael Cooper, what a goalkeeper. Very nervous about this one, though, says Jack. I know we scored 2 against Luton, but apart from that, going forward, we'd like the final finish. It'll be a good game. All we need is Melia to throw one in. Definitely take a point, says Lee. Personally, I'd stick Hamer in the 10 and Brooks on the left on Bogle. Right, well, that's the ideal time for me to ask if I can find it. Because I'm never that smooth with transitions, but what's your tip? Yeah, that's a bit of Matilda Shakes there, Up All Night. So I'm going to change that little thing because I've got a couple more to play as well for different stuff. What is your team? This is my team. A little change, which you'll notice here if I can get rid of that comment on screen from Lee. Obviously, Cooper in goal. Same back 4 as we're used to. I think this is our strongest back 4. I think most of us will agree with that by now. Doesn't mean we haven't got others that can come in and do a job. We've seen Sam McCallum come in and do a very good job. I thought Jamie Shackleton looked very solid when he played in the right back position. But Gilchrist starts for me. Burrows as a left back. Anel and Sutra as the defensive pairing. Vinny Souza and Arblaster in the middle. And I've changed it slightly because I would also, like Danny's mentioned before, like Lee's sort of alluded to, Hamer in the 10 and Lee's plumping for Brooks on the left. I'm going to go Callum O'Hare on the left to run at Jayden Bogle and maybe bring Andre Brooks on after about 60, 70 minutes to terrorise him even further. Raksaki on the right and Big Keith up front. I think that's, for me, that writes itself, that team. Whether you play Hamer and... Oh, no. What is that? What's happened there? Oh, no. Oh, you see, you get these fancy... Stop. Fancy Dan things, and you can't even... Anyway, I know exactly how somebody's reacted to that. So what do you do? Do you switch O'Hare and Hamer? Put Hamer in the 10? I put Hamer in the 10 personally. The things we've got to think about is their team. How are they going to set up? Best way to find out is to ask a Leeds fan. So here's Connor from the One Leeds Fan channel.
Now then, Jimmy, I hope you're all right, mate. I'm just going to answer a few of your questions that you've sent over, bud. Yeah, I think it's been relatively decent. It's been okay. I think, we've had a tough run of games. I think, when I was looking at sort of Sheffield United's and Leeds is probably a little bit more difficult. We've had obviously a tough spell sort of in the last 3 days of the international campaign as well. Norwich away, and then 3 days after Sunderland away. So yeah, they've not been easy, to be quite honest with you, mate. But it's the season so far, still in 5th, not that far off, 3 points off top 2. I'd probably say it's about a 6 out of 10 so far, 6.5. I know we can get a lot better. Not too bad. Yeah, not too bad. Could be worse. I think it's a bit of a 70-30 split on him being good enough, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, I think he's pretty highly rated. I'd say we've got a few, but I'd say Willian Yonto, who, in my opinion, is the best player in the division.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
I'm gonna have to say, and I think you will be well aware of this, and Farker will. Sorry, I should say Wilder will be very aware of this. It's Ilan Mele, the goalkeeper. Strengths I see in the Sheffield United side is Gus Hamer's ball striking ability and set pieces. Obviously, you're a really big side as well, clean sheets. There's a fair few things of which I'm looking at there and thinking that's going to be tough to break down. I would say the weaknesses. I think the weaknesses you've probably got, mate, is I'm not sure you've come up against as good of a team as Leeds yet. You know, I think our XG is pretty damn good. Our XG against is pretty damn good, and taking out penalties, I think we've got the best in the division. I would say that this, maybe the weaknesses, maybe not tactically, but maybe against the teams that you've faced so far, I'm not sure you've come up against a team that's as good as Leeds. I think we'll dominate the ball. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a Burnley blueprint of you guys sitting back, soaking up the pressure, a la 2018, Basham Gate and all that. I think you guys will sit behind the ball. I think we'll dominate it, and I think you'll look to hit us on the counter-attack with Raksaki, potentially with Brewster, as opposed to Moore, which if I was you I would do, because you've then got frightening pace on the counter-attack, and you haven't got sort of Kiefer Moore in there who I feel is going to hold up that counter-attack. But yeah, I think the key battle is probably going to be Raksaki against Firpo. But yeah, I would say tactically, I think it's going to be Sheffield United sitting back and Leeds dominating the ball. Score prediction for me, 1-0 either way, but it's going to be 1-0 Leeds, obviously. You can find me, mate, on social media at 1LeedsFC, or if you want my personal, it's at Conor McGilligan. I think it's going to be a 1-2 job. Sheffield United, very, very good team. Only thing, it's probably your depth, but I actually think there's a lot of people glazing over the fact that you've still got good bench options. In my opinion, you know, Andre Brooks been the key one there. So yeah, listen, mate, I think it's going to be a 1-2 jobby. So who's going to place where? We'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, I think it's going to be us and you. So yeah, cheers, Jimmy. Once again, mate, Blades Ramble, best Sheffield United show out there. We'll see you in a bit.
Connor knows. Top man, thank you to Connor from One Leeds Fan Channel for doing that for us. As I say, I'll be on his channel tomorrow, I believe. That's the plans at the moment. Obviously, anything can change between then, but that's the initial plans at the minute. Just for those that aren't aware, Connor and Joe Wayman, used to be together on All Leeds TV. It's a Leeds YouTube channel, and I started watching him in the 18-19 season when obviously we were in a fierce battle with Leeds to go up with Norwich. And I'd only turn them on. Most of you'll know this story by now, but I'd only turn them on when they lost, because they would both be so miserable. And I used to like revel in their misery. It added to my joy. And that sounds pathetic, but it was just so enjoyable. So yeah, it's, you know, it is what it is. And that's just me being honest. But Connor's channel, One Leeds Fan Channel, again, I watch it when they're losing or when the result don't go their way, but I think it's the best Leeds content out there. So thank you to Connor for doing that. Very much appreciated. And he raises some good points. He says to potentially look at Brewster instead of Moore. I'm not sure I'd go with that. I know what he's talking about. I think he's not far away with. They usually control possession in their games, but we like to dominate the ball in our games as well. I think they'll probably edge possession, but I'm not sure we'll be looking to counter with a Brewster type. I think we'll be more looking to pressure Melier with somebody like Kiefer Moore. So I think it's going to be a game for Kiefer. I think Nonto will be their star man. I'm not sure I buy into this best player in the league. But Vinny Souza on doing a man-for-man job. We talked about this on 3 Mardy Blades on Monday. Vinny Souza doing a man-for-man job on Nonto, I'm not sure about that. So if Nonto's going to play in the 10, do we have to pay him some special attention? Does Jamie Shackleton come in for some? Some people have talked about that. You can't put Peck there. Surely it's a red card waiting to happen. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So thank you again to Connor for doing that. Let's pick up where we left off with the comments. Blazeman from the lane says, I don't think we need to fear Leeds as long as we pin Bogle back. They double up on Raksaki, or they will double up on Raksaki, which gives us plenty of space down the other side. We could end up with 3 early bans. Yeah, we could. Black Cats will... We've not got the rest of it. I was looking down for a further comment there, pal. As long as we're good in possession and don't cause ourselves problems, we'll be fine, says Jack. Mel says, I've sent the Leeds goalkeeper a copy of Des O'Connor's careless hands. Jimmy, a Hamer winning goal, says Tom. Imagine the limbs in the away end. Oh, mate. If we beat them at Elland Road, what a shot in the arm that is for what a springboard it is and a platform for our season. It's a statement to the league, isn't it? Roy says 1-0 to us will do. Oh, it'll do brilliantly, pal. Number 2 is the number, Jimmy. We beat Leeds 2-0 up the Blades, up the Ramble, says Phil. I hope so, mate. When Leeds players at home, will you boo Bogle? Possibly. I don't like forcing a move. I don't like refusing to... He didn't refuse to play. He didn't want to sign a new contract. And he asked to move to Leeds, who was a local rival. Whatever boos he gets will probably be pantomime, won't they? He did a good job for us. It's just a shame how it ended, really. I think he thought he was leaving a sinking ship. And at that time, he was. But look what's happened since. Who would you rather have? Bogle or Alfie Gilchrist? For me, it's not Bogle. Certainly not in the back 4. Connor says, even though I'm watching the game from my sofa, I can't wait to watch Sheffield United play. I'm like you, Jimmy, not a fan of internationals, but my prediction, 2-1 Blades. Let's do this for our star, man. That Bash goal is one of my favourites, says Serves You Right for Muscat. That and Jags in the Worthington Cup at the Lane. That volley. Oh, brilliant. Sousa's going to have a quality game, says Jack. I hope you're right, pal. That Jags goal, my favourite of all time. Yeah, absolutely right. You were a peach, weren't it? I personally prefer the Michael Brown half volley against the Wendy's, but, you know, you're not wrong, are you, whichever you pick. John says Leeds have a couple of good wingers, and that's it. We've a lot better defence, keeper and midfield. I think Raksaki will destroy him. Oh, I am excited to see, because this team is so good. Hearing Dan James might be back, which is, you know, he's fast, isn't he? If we can reel off a list of his skills, he's fast. So we're Ollie Burke. I think we've got to go all out to get a result for this game, says Danny. If we win that, the ego of the Leeds fans and the team will take a bruising and might affect further results going forward. What we don't want, see, I don't rate Daniel Farker. So what we don't want is Leeds falling too far away, so they sack Farker and get a decent manager in. That's my personal opinion. You know, I'd like him to stay in touch, over around 6th place. And, you know, as we push for automatics, it's the apparently Leeds fans. Yeah, I know. Have you any chance seeing the headline about Robinson? Didn't bother reading it, but it was about him being left out as a guest because he's not good enough for the Prem. Give the guy a break. No, I've not seen that headline. I haven't seen it anywhere, Key, to be fair. No, don't know the scoop on that one, I'm afraid, pal. Is that him with the Silver Surfer hair, with the apparent rumours? A typical Leeds fan? No, Jamie, he's not. He's to be fair, I love the banter we've got with Leeds fans. I really like him, to be fair. I think he knows his stuff. I think he's very biased towards Leeds, which is understandable. I think a lot of them are. I'm biased towards Blades. I think we all look at it through our own club's eyes. I always collectively group together Leeds fans as being quite delusional, and I still think they are. They believe they're a top 10 Premier League club by right, and I don't believe in any of that. So that's my gripe. But he certainly knows his stuff. He's not daft. We cannot avoid the yellow card, tightrope. 4 tough away games in the next 5 matches, so it is going to happen, says Jimmy. Best we can do is if one gets a yellow, leave them on and sub one of the others at risk. Yeah, I think that's smart. I think that's a tactical play. So if Vinny Souza gets booked, you bring a Nell off for the last 10 minutes and put Jack Robinson on, something like that. So that we're not going to miss them both. And Nell's not going to get a yellow in the last 5 minutes as well. Hoping for a win just to make a fitting tribute for Starman, says James. Jimmy, I'd go with your 11. And what do you think if United relaunched last season's shirt just with the number 2 on Baldock, give all profits to his family? I love that idea, Neil. I love that idea. I'd certainly buy one. I was looking on Panathinaikos site other day to see if I could get one of those. Hi, Jimmy. I think our weakness is scoring. I know 1 goal wins games, but I would like us to put a few more in the back of the net. Says Gary. Yeah, it's fair, mate. That's fair. It's just been scraping, hasn't it? But when you're not playing as well as you can, because I still don't think we're in top gear, and you're still winning games, it's a good habit to be in, isn't it? Nice to see you smiling up for a win as a tribute to our star man, George Baldock. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, James. I appreciate that, pal. Dyson Fury says, is there a chance the players we can become over emotional on Friday night? We need to stay calm too, but going all out for Baldock can also have its cons. Yeah, I think I was talking to my dad about it, and we touched on it briefly on Three Mardy Blades. It's going to be an emotional night, isn't it? And I think the fact that this tragedy happened over an international break helps slightly. It's not going to be it'll still be very raw for the players, but it's not going to be as much of a shock. So they will hopefully have had a little bit of time to get their head around things. And we can only hope that they can perform, but the tragedy overrides everything, doesn't it? So it's just tough. It's really tough to take. But I think, and also there's not many players in the 11 that played with George. It's probably felt more by people around the club, the fans, those players that played alongside him, obviously, Ollie Arblaster, Gus Hamer, and Nell, Vinny. But there's a lot of players that didn't play with him, so won't have the same sort of connection. So we'll see. We'll see. Agree with Jimmy, not being negative, but I'd take a 0-0 draw all day long, but I'm going 2-1 Blades. Up the Blades, like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. He was right about the weakness. Biscuit fingers, Melier will be the difference. Cooper, man of the match. Yeah, he was. He knows his stuff, doesn't he, pal? We need to win so I can wind up the Leeds fans like I usually do. I think Raksaki will run Firpo ragged, says Jack. I think Raksaki will have a lot of joy coming in onto his left. I like the fact that he can mix it up and go both ways, but Firpo is a very much left-footed left back, as most left backs are. But he struggles on the other side, and I think it'll be interesting to see. Wiseman once said, another clean sheet will do me. If we don't effing score, we don't score. Absolutely right, Lee. Evening, Jimmy. Hope you well, buddy. Tough getting Friday, but I think we'll prevail. An extra gear to go through, and I reckon this game is the game to get into the next gear, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Can you imagine if both, if both teams play to their potential, this could be a barnstormer of a game. I'm not sure how it'll play out. I do think it'll be quite end-to-end, but I think it's going to be low scoring. I think 1-0 Blades, personally. I don't think we've reached top gear yet, says Jack. When do you think the team will fully click? And when do we start to ask questions if it's not interesting one? I think it's coming, Jack. I think it's coming, mate. Jimmy, what's all the negativity towards Peck? Is a combative player, but plays under control, in my opinion. Get him on in and amongst them. I love Sidney Peck. There's no negativity from Sidney Peck here. When I mentioned him earlier, is if you're making any changes, I don't think he will. I think he'll play Souza and Arblaster in the middle. If you're going for a man-for-man marker on Nonto, somebody to follow him round as a number 10, then I would prefer Shackleton to Peck in that role, because Peck is very quick to leave his feet. He's a very combative player, like you've said, and you're right. But if he gets booked after 10 minutes, then how effective is Peck going to be in a man-marking job? So it's just different players, horses for courses, if you like. It's different players for different jobs. If you lined all four up, I'd probably say Shackleton's the weakest of the four players. But can he do that job better than somebody else? Yeah, I think he probably can. We'll leave you with this one. We're due to hammer someone. Could be Leeds Friday, 0-5. To all the Leeds fans tuned in, it could happen up the Blades. Can tell you're becoming popular, advertising galore by YouTube this stream. Oh, sorry, mate. It's on a normal advert stream. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. 0-0 loss against Leeds. 0-0 loss? 0-0 draw. Okay. You never know. This could be the game. Brewster hits the target. 2-0 to the Blades and Super Cooper, man of the match. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Can't wait for him to score and silence all the Leeds fans after they say they didn't want him. Yes, I forgot about that, Jack. You're right. Let's get a win for George. He would be proud, says Kelly. Well said. Susie just needs to be careful with giving away silly fouls. Yeah, he does. We can't be having daft free kicks. Right, I'm going to finish off tonight by something that's backed by popular demand. Thank you to everybody that's joined me tonight. And just before I wrap up, I'm going to throw to Andy the Blade's favourite Rambler. It's Disco Dave.
Bright lights, flashing lights, dancing feet in neon tights. Mirror ball, don't behave. Everybody shout out, Disco Dave. Disco Dave.
I see outstanding play from Blaster. Brooks or Raksaki on the right. I see the saves of Michael Cooper. Anel and Sue to keep it tight. We come and they excite, playing red and white. Sheffield United's on the rise. We come and they excite, playing red and white. Sheffield United's on the rise. I see the passion shown by Alfie. I see the skill of Carl O'Hare. I see the pinpoint cross from Burrows. I see Kiefer winning in the air. We come and they excite, playing red and white. Sheffield United's on the rise. We come and they excite, we play in red and white. Sheffield United's on the rise. I see Reece and Brewster getting fitter. Vinny Souza always up for fight. I see Gustavo scoring winner. Ramble Lane on a Tuesday night. We come and they excite, playing red and white. Sheffield United's on the rise.
Disco Dave.
United's on the rise. Love that. Thank you to Disco Dave for another absolute classic, an instant classic from Disco Dave. Look at all the love coming in for him. Brilliant, Dave. Disco Dave is different gravy. Our hero. Nige loving it. So, yeah, spot on. Liam finishes off tonight by saying, evening, pal. Evening, all. Just hope we keep that unbeaten run going. Eddie saying 1-1. Hart saying 1-0 to us. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you to everybody for joining me tonight. But for now, join me for the watch along on Friday. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the Blades!